All right, welcome back. This is the self-therapy session, and we're going to take a new twist on this today. The past few days, I've had challenges, and I've been working on overcoming them. But something you notice, this is going to be real meta. So, again, in self-therapy, I go mental health like infinite. I don't just do mental health 101, so we're going kind of deep here. But one of the things you saw me do, if you've watched any of my self-therapy videos on YouTube or on the previous lives this week, is that you've seen me do things like cognitive behavioral therapy. You've seen me do things like addressing my challenges, but then you've also seen me say, I'm not going to live life pretending that I have a bunch of problems and I have to constantly address them. I'm going to live life from this positive perspective of actual reality that's actually positive, that's actually incredible, and then I'm going to let my negatives fade away, right, by finding that positive perspective. Now, I would be a hypocrite if I came to you every day, and every day on self-therapy, I only looked at problems. And so in a meta way, right, I can't even come to self-therapy every day and just do therapy, right? Even that title, right? It's the best way I could explain it. But even that title is a little misleading because it's not really self-therapy, it's like reflection. And so today, what I'm reflecting on is I'm happy as heck, right? I don't have a problem to talk about today. Doesn't mean I don't have things going on in life. But, like I just told you, I was so anxious about eating a bunch of chips and cheese last night. That was triggering my mental fears and stuff. So it's not like I don't have things going on. I also had a little minor anxiety attack about finishing my deck. I was like, oh no, my house is decked. I got this new house. The deck is going to rot if I don't do finish on it, or it's going to blah, blah, blah. Whatever. But anyway, point is that today, I'm not trying to even think of those things. I know that anxiety about nutrition is just a result of something I learned to worry about in the past that's not important. I know that anxiety about a deck in my house is just anxiety about what somebody else might think of me. It's not important. So today, my reflection time, real quick for you, is just, I'm so happy, right? I'm having so much fun making these videos. I'm having so much fun sharing myself with people. I'm having so much fun working out. I got a pull-up bar, so I'm going to be able to do pull-ups now. But more than anything, I'm just having fun being and existing and smiling every day. And so, I guess the thing you could get from this is that I also don't like to just sit down and write out all my blessings. If you want to do that, great. That's cool, okay? But you have one blessing that outshines all the others, and that's your consciousness and the fact that you're alive, all right? Because without that, nothing matters. And so compared to whether I have good, whether my money was good today, or whether I got my pull-up bar and I'm excited, or whether, whatever, I'm alive and I get to be here and experience this. And if the magnitude of joy you feel at being alive isn't vastly more than everything else in your life, that means it's time to do some more reflection. It's time to do some more growth. And so what I'm doing today is just continuing to be inside myself and enhance that sense of joy, that sense of love at just being alive. How cool is that? How amazing is that? And so today I just woke up smiling. I just woke up and smiled and said something goofy to my wife and my dog who was in the bed, and I just was happy. And I want you to know that this is the natural state, right? You can't come up with a conceivable argument against being happy. It's not possible. The only argument against being happy at all times is that you want to manipulate people, and so you want them to be unhappy so you can manipulate them, because a happy person can't be manipulated. A happy person is magnanimous, is gracious, and also retains boundaries, trusts themselves, and has love for themselves. And so that's what I want you to know, is that if you're unhappy, if you think somebody wants you to be unhappy, it's because they want to manipulate you. And so you need to run away from that, run the other direction. And again, this is actually a cool thing to reflect on. This is something I've been practicing the past few weeks and is worth talking about. And it fits with my theme, right? Remember our levels of consciousness here. Our levels are physical, mental, emotional, and then the consciousness itself, just awareness of awareness, right? And so an awareness exercise, a very advanced exercise I've been doing, is whenever something negative or critical or something that, is just, to me, kind of ridiculous in the real world comes up, where people are fighting or people are upset or dramatic, I've been practicing running the opposite direction. And I told you about one time, somebody sent my wife a negative message and she was starting to get upset about it a few weeks ago, and I ran the opposite direction. I sprinted down to the basement, and it was my consciousness fleeing that negativity. And again, just to be clear, I'm not saying run away from your problems, right? I love to talk, if you haven't noticed, I love to talk about death, racism, homelessness, poverty, right? Money, all the most taboo things that people won't talk about. I love to talk about these things. It's very important to talk about these things, right? And so it's important to wake up in the morning and say, we're all going to die. America is racist. My finances are exactly what they are, and I can't hide that, like, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? But it's all about the attitude, the energy. And so what I'm practicing is separating those two things. And if something is a physical circumstance that I have to look at and address, that's fine, right? But I'll address it with my same gracious, glad to be alive attitude. If something is someone creating negativity, I sprint the opposite direction now. And so one thing I'm practicing is even doing that with my own thoughts, right? Even if I have a thought of negativity. I had this thought this morning that was like, if you don't finish the deck, it's going to rot. Like if you don't put the perfect finish on your deck. And then I started Googling it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just leaving this area of consciousness. I'll finish the deck or I won't. It doesn't matter. But this is not going to be something that occupies my consciousness. And so that's the thing I want you to remember, is that it's all about actually running away. You can actually leave. You've been tricked. You've been taught learned helplessness, that if somebody else is in a negative state, if somebody else is saying something negative, you have to defend yourself, right? But even if somebody says something negative at you, you don't have to defend yourself. What are they going to do to you? Like, what are they going to do? That's the question maybe that's worth asking today. And short of physically harming you, people can't do anything to you. And so the more I think about it, the more I'm reflecting and really practicing the sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Guys, there are all kinds of people out there in the physical world where sticks and stones are breaking their bones and they can't get out of that situation. And so if you're lucky enough to be in a physical situation where your physical body is safe, that means that you have the potential to be as happy as possible every single moment of every day. It doesn't matter whether you're in debt. It doesn't matter whether you have a broken relationship. It doesn't matter, whether some tragedy has happened. It doesn't matter, okay? You can still choose to be happy. You can address all those things while being happy and it will come out better. So that's a little mental health pep talk for today. I'm just constantly working on this. It's more challenging than you would think. It's actually very, very challenging, right? But if the moment that negativity comes, you sprint the opposite direction. And I mean physically, like I said, if somebody's being negative at a party, I'm going to run away from the conversation. If somebody's going to be negative in my house, I'm going to go to a different room, right? Whatever it is, I run the opposite direction from negative energy, and there's no reason for you to stay in that. And so that's my message today. I hope this was positive energy, right? That's the goal, is for it to be positive energy, to fill you up, to know that the way to be happy every day is not to fight the negativity, but rather to understand why the negativity exists, that it exists, to acknowledge all the hard things in life, but then to always bring that just light and happiness everywhere. And it takes so much work, but it's so worth it. So that's a little bit of self-therapy today. We're going to go right into the nutrition segment because I want to get that nutrition daily workout segment done so that I can go and figure out my nutrition for myself. All right, so we're going to keep streaming, but we're going to stop the